Hello guys, and welcome to another Guild Ball Informer video. As always, you're joined by me, Jay, and we are here today to bring you the next in the Meet the series. And since the last one, Meet the Morticians, with Jamie Perkins, got such a warm welcome, I figured I'd bring someone in who knows the Union. He was busy, so unfortunately today we're stuck with...
Chris Hay.
Chris Hay. Chris, you're a Union player?
I am indeed, yes.
Good pal of mine, and he won my last event with the Union. You aren't a proper guy.
Yeah, before anybody knew what the rules were. So.
Yeah. Also, as you may see, we are wearing brand new, shiny Guild Ball Informer merchandise. You will be able to win this at the Guild Cup next weekend, or get in contact, and I'm sure we can sort something out so this is available for you all. So, today we're going to do Meet the Union. We've had a chat about this. I think we're going to break this video into two bits.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
Probably easier. There's 11 of them. 12 if you count Greed as his own player, which we probably will go through separately. So we're going to do this first video, and we're going to start with the captain, the mascot, the big guys, and a couple of the normal dudes. And then in the second video, we'll cover the other half. As always, we'll give you any tactical advice we can, probably Chris a lot more than me. Any tricks we've found with using them, any shortfalls. And we hope you enjoy the video. So what we'll do as usual, guys, is we'll get our faces off camera because you don't want to be looking at that. We'll get it on the models, and we're going to start with Blackheart. Hello. Okay, so here we are. Usual format, guys. We're going to go through the players one by one, run down to the profile. Chris will give you a bit more of an in-depth description of them than I probably can. We'll talk about them in-game, and we're going to work through them systematically, and we're going to start with the captain, then the mascot, then the big guys, as usual, and then probably everything else. So as you can see, we are starting with the Pirate King himself, Blackheart. And we've actually put both models on the screen for you now. The one on the left is the Kickstarter, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
One on the left is the Kickstarter, the one on the right is a retail. Which one do you prefer?
I like the Kickstarter one, standing up.
Yeah, I have to admit, when I first seen the models, I was all about the retail one. But as time's gone on, I've actually shifted, and I do now prefer the Kickstarter one. So there are the models, guys. And so what we'll do is Chris is going to give you a brief overview of the fluff behind Blackheart first.
So, yeah, he was, as Jay's mentioned, he's a Pirate King of the seas. Nobody quite knows where he's come from or where he's grown up. And it seems that every state has disowned him or denied having anything to do with him. So he's a bit of a lone cannon, it seems. But he came away from piracy and terrorised all the villages and threatened all the states until finally he's become a Guild Ball captain. And again, nobody really knows why. So there's a lot of mystique and mystery behind Blackheart.
Nice. So he's a bit of a scumbag, basically.
A bit of a scumbag.
A bit underhand.
Yeah, the name is suiting.
Yeah, but I love him. So if you need a state to come and live in, come to me, my friend. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'll throw the front of his card up on screen now. We'll have a rundown of his profile first. So he's a movement 5'7", pretty average, I'd say.
Pretty average, yeah.
Yeah, pretty average, run of the mill. He is tack 6, which is standard for captains. He's got a kick of 3'6", which is very useful. He's defence 3, which arguably you'd say is a little low. But then as you move next to the next column, you see that he's got 2 armour, which is invaluable, don't you think? It
is, yeah. A lot of people forget. They always think Mason's having high armour, but Blackheart really, it does take quite a beating.
I mean, the thing is, when you've got tack 4, tack 5 models hitting him, you know the maximum a tack 4 model is going to get through is 2 hits.
Correct.
And that's providing all the dice hit. So 2 armour is massive, and he's not as squishy as he may seem upon first look at that. And then in true captain fashion, as you can see, he generates 4 influence, and he can take a maximum of 6. So what do you think of his stat line? All right?
Yeah, pretty good. He's got another ability that makes him slightly faster, which we'll come on to. So the 5'7" initially isn't too bad.
Absolutely.
And melee zone is huge for him as well. He's got a 2-inch melee.
2-inch melee. I believe you can make a full 2-inch melee team from the Union.
You can, yeah, because the mascot is the only mascot currently in the game that has a 2-inch melee. So you can make a full 6 players with
absolutely.
With 2-inch.
So what I'll do, guys, is we'll go over his character trait, and then so his character trait is Shadow-like. At the start of this model's activation, it may make a 2-inch dodge. Again, it's brilliant. It means if he's engaged, he can get out of there, he can reposition himself, or it literally effectively makes him a 7-9 movement model.
Correct.
If he's just charging upfield. So do you use that to good effect?
Amazing, yeah. Again, it's amazing how many people forget that he has that like mover model in to tie him up, and then suddenly he does this dodge out of the way, either to set up a charge on somebody else, or just to get out of melee and run onto the board.
Yeah, the beauty of it is, even if he's having a one-on-one fight with someone, he can dodge out at the start of his activation, so he can charge in for the extra dice.
It tends to be what I do quite a lot, yeah.
So Blackheart is pretty nasty. And then his legendary play, guys, which I'll put up on screen separately now. Gotta love the editing. Strike from the Shadows, which is an 8-inch pulse. Choose either +1 defense or immediately making a 2-inch dodge. Friendly guild models within the pulse gain the chosen benefit. Now, because you're Union, they're all going to be friendly guild models. How do you use that, Chris? And what do you think of it?
I think it's brilliant. Yes, the only model that doesn't benefit is Rage because he's a Maverick.
Of course, yeah.
But every other model in the Union would benefit from this. I tend to do it right at the start of the game. To usually give all of my models, which are within 8 of me at the time, a 2-inch push, which just gives them a little bit extra movement.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go for a killy build of the Union, it's going to get them 2 inches closer to doing what they need to do, because turn 1 can be famous for just wasting influence, and it just gets them into the fray that bit quicker.
And I think I need to try the +1 defense a bit more. It could be crucial in certain setups, especially against other killy teams that are trying to do damage.
Yeah, I think more in the late game, I would lean towards the +1 defense.
Yeah.
Or, for example, say if you've got somebody who just needs to push that extra 2 inches to get onto the goal or to get in range of someone.
I think the problem, the later you leave it, the more spread out your team is probably going to be.
Absolutely. So the less people are going to be affected.
They're going to benefit from it.
But as far as legendaries go, I'd say it's very good, and it's very diverse as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's good. And then, as you can see, guys, 16 boxes of health. So we'll switch to the back of his card. He's a 2-inch melee, normal guy, 30mm base. Do you want to go through his playbook, Chris? Sorry for smacking the camera.
Sure. So in his first column, he's got 1 damage or a 1-inch dodge. So for Blackheart, really, the first sort of 4 columns of damage really aren't generating any momentum. So you want to be getting the high number of hits to be doing any damage with momentum. But you do get a momentous dodge on the first hit if you want to. A bit more repositioning makes him a bit more slippery than others. And then his second column is 1 damage and a 2-inch dodge or 2 damage, both of which aren't momentous. Third column is just a tackle, so any useful if
that's not bad. Tack 6 and his tackle's on 3, so he's going to be average at getting the ball back.
Yeah, and again with his 2-inch melee, he can pick off people from a bit further away. Fourth column is a knockdown or a momentous double guild ball, which is commanding aura. Now this is amazing. Yeah,
we'll go on to commanding aura in a minute. It's one of the things that makes him as good as he is. I think.
So we'll come on to that in a second. The fifth column is where you really start to love Blackheart. So he's got 3 damage and a double dodge or a 2-inch dodge, or 3 damage and a tackle. So you can be charging in, tackling somebody, and also doing damage to them.
And they're both momentous as well. Yeah, so brilliant.
You're sort of getting 3 benefits in one from both of those.
Yeah.
And then the 6th one, which is the maximum he can do on his first round of playbook, is 3 momentous damage or 3 and a knockdown. Both again of which are momentous. So for 5 and 6 hits, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, when he gets up to those heights, that's when he really starts chewing through people.
Which again synergizes with his Shadow-like, which we mentioned at the start. If you can dodge out of somebody's melee to then charge back in.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely.
It's giving you 10 dice.
Cool. So there's his playbook, guys. And I'll now go over his character plays. So the first one, Misdirection. It costs 4 with an 8-inch range. Target enemy model loses 1 influence. This model may immediately allocate 1 influence to a friendly guild model within 4. I think it's brilliant. I'd possibly say it's one of the more underused abilities in the game.
Yeah.
But you could literally remove the influence someone needs to take a shot on goal.
I can see where situationally it'd be powerful. Or if you're stood engaged with Boar, with a couple of health left, and he's just about to batter you, if you take that 1 influence off him, because that's all he can be allocated, then he's not hitting anybody.
Exactly.
The whole turn.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
It can be crucial. And to think about it, I guess cost 4. But you do allocate 1 influence to a friendly model, which could be Blackheart himself.
Yeah.
So it is actually only
It's very much like Puppet Master.
Yeah,
it costs you 4, but you can gain 1 back. It's I think I'd only be tempted to invest that amount of influence if it could directly stop someone scoring a goal.
Agreed.
Other than that, I would probably invest the influence in just hitting someone.
Yep.
And then his other one, which I will read to you, and then I'm going to let Chris go on about because he's a bit of a fangirl of this play. It's Commanding Aura, and it costs 2, or it can be activated from 4 successful hits on the playbook. It's a 4-inch aura, which is sustained, so it will stay till the end of the turn. And it reads, an attack made against an enemy model within this aura gains +1 attack and +1 damage to playbook damage results. Take it away, Chris.
So this is amazing. Just before we get too overawed with this, it is only playbook damage results, the +1 damage. So any character plays that you activate don't benefit from the extra damage, such as Scything Blow, often misunderstood. But still amazing. So it's basically, whichever model you are hitting, if they are within 4 inches of Blackheart, you get this benefit. So in effect, your own friendly models could be 6 inches, 7 inches away. It doesn't have to be your own model. So as long as you've set it up correctly.
Yeah, it's worth noting the aura isn't from Blackheart, it's from the model. The enemy model, isn't it?
No, it's from Blackheart.
Is it?
Yeah, so it's a 4-inch pulse from Blackheart, and if anybody
and if
is
a model
within
is in
4
that
of
range, I understand. So you could be on a 2-inch melee.
So
the
in
other
effect,
side.
yeah, Gutter could be stood 6 inches away from Blackheart, but the model you're hitting is within 4 of Blackheart, and then you're getting the extra 1 dice and the extra damage.
See, this is why Chris is here, because I get it all wrong.
And again, once it's on, so usually it's good to get Blackheart going first, because once he gets this commanding aura up, it benefits all your other models, including himself. So he could spend 2 at the start of his activation to put commanding aura up, and then go on and beat somebody, and he still benefits from the extra dice and the extra damage. So yeah, very, very crucial to how this team kind of works. If you're going for a BT team.
It really ups Blackheart's game, and it's what really makes him shine as a very good captain, because I do think he is a very good captain.
It does, and if you allocate the full 6 influence to him, and you do commanding aura straight away with the 2, the remaining 4 will usually, quite reliably, allow you to get 12 hit points on somebody.
Yeah. Or you could bag of coffers, which we'll get onto. There are ways to have him doing extra attacks over his...
Yeah, bag of coffers doesn't work on captains, but...
Again, this is why Chris is here, because I don't know the Union.
But yes, you can't. So you can reliably take out a 12-point model or the model that has 12 hit points left. The only thing to remember with Blackheart is all of his lower damage amounts aren't generating momentum.
Yeah, he needs to get up to the 5s and 6s on his playbook.
So the way I tend to use him is get commanding aura up, because he's a bit of a tank as well with his armour. So get him in the middle of play, get commanding aura up, and then get some of your other models to go in and do the damage after him.
I've played your Union team. I've actually played using them a couple of weeks ago, and the amount of damage they can dish out. I mean, a lot of people see the Butchers as the ultimate killy team, but used right, I think the Union can literally go at them all day. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So Blackheart on the whole, good captain.
Brilliant.
Happy with him.
Very, very happy with him. At first, I wasn't too sure, but yeah, he's grown on me the more I use him. I think he doesn't have as spectacular plays as, for example, Shark. So he's not going to score you 4 or 8 points in a game all by himself. But the amount of buffs that he gives to other team members, he's just as essential for me as your Sharks and your Midases in terms of how the team actually works. So yeah, great, I love him.
Cool. So guys, that is Blackheart. I hope that was useful for you. What we're going to do now is, as always, we will follow up with the mascot. So next on screen will be Coin. Here we go. Over onto Coin, as you can see on screen now. A snake that looks like it's I think it has the guild's money in there, doesn't it?
It does indeed, yes.
Yeah. So Coin, guys, we're going to go over to Chris, and he'll give you a run of the fluff first, and then we'll get back onto his profile.
So Coin, as Jay suggested, is a snake, a monstrous creature itself before the horror that Blackheart has inflicted on it. So basically, Blackheart uses Coin as a bank. He feeds Coin all of his money because he doesn't trust anybody and he doesn't trust the bank. And because Coin is such a disgusting creature, nobody's going to want to go near it to try and get that money out. And Coin hates Blackheart, as do most people. So all he sees Blackheart really is as the source of his torment. And it's been going on for many years. So Blackheart has to keep him on a bit of a leash and just release him when he needs to.
So basically, Blackheart is a bad man.
Without wanting to swear.
Yeah.
He isn't a very nice guy.
So that's Coin in a nutshell, guys. I love the model. What do you think of it? It's actually, at first I looked at it and didn't think much of it, but it's become one of my favourite mascot models.
Yeah, I do really like it. It's a bit nondescript to look at first, but with all the fluff in the background and stuff, you can really see what they're going with.
Have you seen Phil from Guild Ball Tonight's paint job of Coin?
I have.
These are Chris's models, by the way. I'm not slating them in any way.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, but Phil from Guild Ball Tonight, check it out, guys. He's done an absolutely beautiful Coin. It's quite
like
cool,
a
isn't
funny pattern, isn't it? It's awesome, yeah.
So what we're going to do, we'll have a look at his card. I'm going to throw the front of the card on screen now. So he is movement 5'7". Not bad for a mascot. Can't complain there. He's tack 2. So he's part of the lower tack bracket of the mascots. They're usually 2 or 4. He has a kick of 1-4. Again, very standard stuff. Defense 4+ with 1 armor, which is all right for a mascot. It's not squishy as the rest. And he, as usual, generates 1 influence and can be assigned 2. So as far as profiles go, all right.
Yeah, fairly standard. Nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, I mean some of his traits and stuff are where he really shines. So I think we'll jump into those now. So His first character trait, Bag of Coffers. Once per turn, target-friendly non-captain guild model within 4 inches gains 1 influence and can use bonus time without spending MP. Chris, do you want to elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, brilliant this is. So basically, yeah, you just select anybody within 4 and you give them an extra influence, and then at one point during their activation, they can use bonus time without spending momentum. So really useful at the start of the turn when you've not generated any momentum, but also you can actually take models above their maximum influence allocation. So, for example, Gutter has a maximum of 4. If you stack her with 4 and then you get coin to Bag of Coffers, she can actually have 5. So the only caveat is that you can't do it on Blackheart and you can't do it on Rage, because Rage is a Maverick, so you can't benefit from this either. But again, on lots of other models, brilliant at sort of disguising your intentions for the turn, because you can give a model 1 and then people will think they can't be charged, and then suddenly coin pops up, gives them a Bag of Coffers for 2 influence, and suddenly they're able to charge.
Yeah.
Or they have nothing, and they have the ball, and you don't think they're going to be able to shoot. Suddenly coin pops up, gives them an influence, and now they've got that available to shoot with.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Brilliant. He can also, just to point out, give it to himself.
Yeah.
So if you need that 1 influence on him for a tackle or for a sprint, then he can allocate to himself.
Yeah, it's very it's game changing really. Like you say, it can hide your intentions, and it can really it can literally be used as the turn is going on to adjust to what's happening. The other thing is, I think the bonus time is equally important. Like if you look at like plays that can be devastating early on in a turn, for example, Hemlock's Blind.
Yes.
Getting a bonus time on that before potentially you've had time to generate momentum because it's a 1 dice play.
It's key.
Makes it brilliant. Yeah.
And again with Gutter's chain grab, if
Absolutely,
there's somebody looking at it thinking, oh, they're going to be rolling 1 dice, maybe I'm on a 5, there's not much likelihood of that going off, but suddenly Bag of Coffers comes up and you're rolling 2 dice, it suddenly changes the complexion of
Absolutely.
things. So yeah, love this trait, absolutely love it.
Yeah, so that's the first character trait, and then the second one, follow-up. After an enemy model performs an advance that takes it out of this model's melee zone, this model may immediately move up to its base move directly towards it.
Again, it doesn't come up particularly often for me, really, because there's not many people that are trying to run away. Once the coin has got them, they tend to be sticking around. But it is really useful, especially if you go on to one of his character plays, well, his only character play. It's really just an annoyance if the model's trying to get away from you.
Absolutely, it's just a control element that it brings. It ties someone down effectively.
And the only thing to remember is any dodges or pushes don't trigger follow-up. So it's only a jog or a sprint.
Yeah, it's only advanced moves, not repositions.
Yes, so,
absolutely.
But yeah, it can be really useful when you're trying to tie up ball-playing teams and things.
Yeah, it's not huge, let's be honest, but better to have it than not.
Correct.
And he has 10 health, which is alright for a mascot.
Brilliant. With armour 1, 4+ defence, he does stick around. He does take quite a bit of influence to take out. So
yeah, can't follow.
One thing we've not mentioned yet is his melee zone.
Yeah, we're going to get to that when we get on the back.
So we'll flip over now.
Yeah, we'll flip to the back of his card. As Chris has just mentioned, he is a 2-inch melee, and Chris will do his massive playbook for you.
His huge playbook of two columns. So with attack 2, most people's columns match the tack.
Yeah.
So his first column is either a tackle or 1 damage, neither of which are momentous. And then his second one is a momentous guild ball, which triggers his character play hamstring, which Jay will discuss in a second. So not going to be doing a great deal from his playbook with only tack 2. The only time really is if you manage to get 2 influence on him and charge. You may be getting a bit of a wrap round for a double tackle or a tackle and a damage, which could be useful against people with close control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, double tackle's doable.
But most of the time, it's more of an annoyance. He's not going to be a game changer.
Yeah, I think he's one of those mascots that what you get from him, he doesn't have to. Is literally. He's great to have on the pitch if he's just throwing out Bag of Coffers.
Yeah, that's the thing. If
he's not there to be. Granted, he has some abilities where he follows players and stuff, but you're getting enough out of that mascot when you compare him to the likes of Salt.
Yeah.
Because we love Salt here. The fact that he's generating an extra, he may as well be generating 2 influence per turn. And the fact that he's giving out a bonus time, that alone is amazing for a mascot before he starts engaging people and things.
Yes.
So he is very good. And then his character play, which Chris mentioned, is Hamstring, which he activates on 2 successful hits. Target enemy model suffers -4/-4 move. Again, can be tough to get off in most situations, but if you can, on a model that hasn't activated, that's pretty big.
Pretty big, and with follow-up as well, it means that if even a model with quite a decent movement, if they move out of his melee zone, he gets to just follow.
Yeah, even like Dirge, who can sprint 10, that's down to 6 and he can move 5. He's still going to re-engage him, so yeah, it's pretty useful. Brilliant. So that, guys, is Coin in a nutshell. So we've covered the captain and mascot, and I think we're going to go to the big guys next.
Yes.
Who should we start with?
Let's go with the smelly one, Fangtooth.
Fangtooth coming next. Here we go. We've decided to come back in with Fangtooth. As you can see, he's a very clean individual, looks after himself, likes to look good. Yep. No, he is grotesque, and he smells, and he's foul, and he's grim. And Chris, you've done a pretty good paint job on that one.
Thank you, yeah.
I don't like to pay you many compliments, but there you go. So, Fangtooth, guys. I'll pop the front of his card on screen now, and we'll start with his profile. So he is a movement of 4/6 inches. He is TAC 5, which is alright, I suppose. He's got a kick of 1/6. Standard big guy stuff. He is defense 2+ with 1 armor, and influence. He generates 1 and can have a maximum of 3. So, what do you think of his profile?
So yeah, like a normal big guy really. He's not going to be in the team for kicking the ball. A decent amount of tack if you can get him engaged or on the charge. Quite slow, probably by far the slowest guy in the Union really. But can be buffed a little bit, as we'll see as we come on, in terms of movement. Yeah, standard influence would be nice if he had 2, but only generates the 1. And again, only can be allocated 3, which can be buffed with bag of coffers.
Yeah,
but,
of course. Yeah.
But 3 standard really.
Cool. So we'll have a look at his character. There's not really much to him in the fluff, is there really?
No, there's not. There's a bit of a write-up about him in-game with the Morticians, but again, just touches on all of his sort of character traits and stuff around him being a bit smelly and a bit of a lumbering idiot.
So we'll have a look at his character traits, and going forward, now we've done the captain and mascot, all the Union players will have the selective trait, which shows the teams that they can play for, and Fangtooth can also play for the Brewers, the Fishermen, and the Morticians, as well as these guys. And a bit ad hoc, would anyone like to see Chris's Fisherman Fangtooth conversion? Chris is going to run and get it.
But when I play them with the Fishermen.
So yeah, when Chris plays with the Fisherman, he's done an alternate Fangtooth. If you just drop that in where he is. Forward a bit. Professional, there you go. So as you can see, Chris has done a Kraken with an octopus face and in fish colours and a crazy tattoo. I think that looks pretty cool. I think we'll leave him on now, actually. He looks pretty good. Let's leave. There we go. Oh, yep. So there you go. There's an alternate Fangtooth for you just to have a look at. So what we're going to do is... Yeah, sorry, miles away. Character traits. So yes, he can play for the Brewers, Fishermen or Morticians. And his other character trait, Foul Odor, which is a 3-inch aura around him. The open ground within this aura is treated as rough ground. Very cool. Worth noting as well, Fangtooth is not affected by his aura.
Yeah, this has been errated so that he doesn't get affected by it himself, but it does affect all other guild models, so all other Union or any other team that he's playing for, apart from, again, Rage, because he's a Maverick, so that's worth remembering. It just makes it really awkward for anybody trying to get around him. The movement is reduced by 2. Because it's classed as rough ground. And selective, I've not really seen him in any other teams. I've seen him once or twice with the Fishermen, just offers something a little bit different, a bit more of a sponge for damage compared to what they're used to, but I've not really seen him with Morticians or Brewers. I think there's probably better big guys that synergise a bit better for them. So I'd be interested to see in the comments if anybody else has any experience of him in other teams.
Yeah. So that's his character traits, guys, and then we'll do his heroic play. So Fangtooth Unleashed, which is a 4-inch pulse. All friendly models within the pulse suffer 5 damage.
Including himself.
Including himself. And then this model gains +2/+2 movement and +1 damage to character players that cause damage and playbook damage results. Do you ever use that? Have you ever used it?
Yes.
Because I don't think I'd use that very often.
As long as he's not within 4 inches of another friendly... I would use it every single turn.
Yeah, I mean, you take it on Fangtooth because he has 29 health, and he can effectively use a momentum he may generate to recover 4 of that.
Jay and I had a game earlier today. He was playing Butchers. and Fangtooth took a lot of damage. But in every other game I've played with him, nobody's really done any damage to Fangtooth apart from me. So by doing the heroic play, I've been giving him 5 damage every turn to then get extra movement and extra damage for him to run in and hit something. So again, situational, but it depends what teams you're up against.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be really useful. And then that, as we alluded to before, his normal move of 4-6 now goes to 6-8, which gives him slightly more range, which people aren't expecting.
Yeah, cool. So that's the front of his card done. As we did mention, he does have 29 health. We'll switch to the back of his card now. He's melee's on 1. Ignore Chris's conversions. He is supposed to just have his fists, not a big-ass knife. So Chris will do his playbook now, and then we'll touch on his character plays.
So first column is 1 damage or a momentous knockdown. So this is huge, a momentous knockdown on 1 hit. So if he's rolling attack 5 dice normally, then he's knocking people down. So it negates any counter attacks and things. It's really, really useful.
Yeah, he's great. He's knocking people down most times. And the thing, like when we played today, you're arguably not even going to bother counter attacking because you know he's going to get 1 and he'll just switch what he's going to do there to a knockdown and then just put the hurt on even easier for the rest of his attacks.
Yeah, the second column is 2 damage or his first character play for 1 guild ball called Blood, which we'll touch on again in a second. The character play guild ball is momentous, but the 2 damage isn't. Then 3 hits is momentous 2 damage or momentous 2 damage and a knockdown. So again, really useful to get a bit of damage in while you're knocking something down as well. Fourth column is 3 damage that's not momentous, or double guild ball, which triggers the unmasking, which with his heroic play makes him really, really amazing to play and really, really good fun. Jay will touch on it in a sec. And finally, his 5th column is a tackle. I don't know why you'd ever want to tackle the ball with Fangtooth.
No.
Especially if you could knock him down on 1.
Yeah.
Or 4 damage, both of which aren't momentous. So you're really looking at the knockdowns and the character plays from Fangtooth.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, he's got that 4 damage. If he ever can reach those heights, and he's done his heroic first, he's doing 5 damage on a hit. That's nothing to be laughed at.
Not at all.
So we'll do his character plays. So the first one is Blood, which is activated on 2 successful hits. Target enemy model suffers a bleed condition. Pretty good. Useful, I guess, towards the end of the turn when models have activated and they can't clear that condition. Absolutely. It's effectively access to a 3 damage on 2 hits, or they're going to use momentum, which they'd have used to heal anyway.
Yeah.
So it's very good. I think it's good access to a good amount of damage, and I'm a big fan of the bleed condition. Definitely will be
in season 2.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the other one he's got is the unmasking guys, which he activates on 4 successful hits from his playbook, and that is a 3-inch pulse. All other models, so not himself, suffer a 4-inch push directly away from this model and 3 damage. That's massive. It's like chain grab on steroids.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Scything blow on steroids. Even.
Scything blow. It's ace just to charge them in and to sort of like Skittles, play Skittles with the enemy team, just knock them all out of the way. And the push, remember, it's a 4-inch push, but it's your choice how far you actually push them. So you could only push them an inch or half an inch. So you can push them sort of, if you're hitting 3 models with it, you can push one of them 4 inches out of your melee and then leave one in your melee to keep beating on them.
Absolutely.
And it's all amplified by his heroic play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that guy's his Fangtooth, and I'm gonna let Chris attempt to pronounce where he's from, just for a bit of entertainment.
Ethranian.
Yeah, that's probably wrong.
Probably wrong.
He's from there anyway.
He's from there.
So that's Fangtooth. Does he get into your team often?
He never did at the start, but I've recently taken a liking to him and I've started putting him in. He, obviously, with his 29 hitboxes, it's the most in the game, so can take a lot of damage with 1 armour as well. Unfortunately, he doesn't have tough hide, but yeah, he sort of soaks up a lot. If the enemy is going to invest 3 or 4 of their models a couple of turns of the game just to take him out for 2 points, then that's fair game. I'll be running off doing other stuff while you're doing that. So
exactly,
I have positioning is key, obviously, with his foul loader and his heroic plays. You want to kind of him on his own, charging into the midst of the enemy and just annoying them and doing a bit of damage.
Oh yeah, and he does it well. He does it very well. So that guy's his Fangtooth. Next, we're going to do Avarice and Greed. We are going to do them separately, but we'll effectively talk about them as one model. So we'll start with Avarice. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We'll start with Avarice. Cheers. So Avarice, guys. Well, Avarice and Greed. It's a bit of a tricky one because at times they are classed as one model, and as you'll see by his profile, they can become 2 models. So what we'll do is we'll do Avarice first because they do both have independent cards, and then we'll do Greed. So can you tell us a bit about the fluff about these 2?
So yeah, they seem to have sort of worked every seedy job you can imagine in all the states, so they don't have any principles in terms of what they do. It says here they've been bodyguards for gang bosses, henchmen for others, they've been involved in extortion, racketeering, human trafficking, narcotics procuring, and good old-fashioned murder.
My sort of people.
So yeah, the sort of guys that seem to would fit in with Blackheart. You can see why they're in the union with him.
Yeah.
Not quite. It says it's not quite as simple as the brains and the brawn. Little greed as the brains and big fat brawny avarice, but it does come across that way. So yeah, we'll see. Nobody really knows again why they got into guild ball, but
I think it's a legal way of killing people.
a legal way of
legal killing, isn't
butchery
it?
and beating every now and again.
But Avarice looks up for a game, the club on his shoulder, and Greed with his little pocket knife, pointing at Avarice, telling him where to go, looking at the model. Yeah, it's a very cool, it's very fun model. It's very fun. And I think, purely from theory, because I'm yet to use him myself, I think he has a lot more potential, and you should see a lot more of him than maybe you do.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's probably one of the more difficult models as a pair to figure out, which is why he's probably seen a little less at the moment. But some of the benefits he can bring, I think, are massive.
Absolutely. So what we'll do, we'll throw the front of Avarice's card up on screen now, and I will go through his profile for you. So he's movement 4-7, so as far as big guys go, he's got that extra inch on his sprint, and an extra inch goes a long way in Guild Ball. Behave, Chris.
In Guild Ball.
Behave, Chris. He's tack 6, which is very good. Kick 1-6, standard big guy kick. Defense 2+ with no armor, again, pretty much rule of thumb for big guys. And he generates 1 influence, and he can receive 3. So, fairly average profile.
Yeah, not too great. A little slow. Decent tack is probably the standout thing.
Yeah, you find they always have one thing that is above the normal, and I think for him it's the tack.
Yeah, not going to kick it and kicking the ball very much, and no armour. So he's probably going to go down fairly quick to a beating. Exactly.
So, character traits, guys. First of all, selective. And the interesting thing about Avarice and Greed are they are selective for all guilds. So, anyone can take it.
So, as mentioned in the fluff, they don't care what they do.
He is a gunfire. If you can pay him, he will turn up and do it. So, selective for all the guilds. And he's got tough hide, as a lot of the big guys we know do. So, all damage, playbook damage results targeting this model, or character plays that cause damage are reduced by 1. So he can really absorb some damage. And then the last one, which sort of brings the two profiles together, is Detach, Greed. During the maintenance phase, so when you're allocating influence and such, before the influence is generated, the named model, which is Greed, may be placed on the pitch in base contact with this model. If this model is in possession of the ball, it may move the goal token with him. So basically, you can go from 6 players on the pitch to 7. And it's very obvious why that is huge, because it means even if you're both at full teams, you get 2 activations unhindered at the end of the turn.
Yes, and it then gives you, if Greed is deployed, it gives you an extra influence and all the extra bonuses.
Correct, because Greed has his own card and stat line, which you effectively bring onto the table when Greed is in play. So I think that can be used to massive effect, and again, may come more apparent when we go through each of the profiles completely. But I think there's a lot of room for potential if you master these 2 players.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think obviously having to detach during the maintenance phase, you got to be fairly safe and pretty clear on what your plan is going to be for it to be effective. But if you can plan that well, I think it's going to be invaluable with 7 players on the pitch. Yeah,
absolutely. And then, so what we'll do is we will flip to the back of Avarice's card. He is a 1-inch melee zone, and he's on a 40mm base, being a standard big guy. And Chris will run you through his playbook.
So first column, he's got 1 damage or momentous guild ball, which triggers singled out, which we'll discuss in a second. The second column is a knockdown, so fairly easy access to a knockdown, not momentous, but useful all the same.
Yeah, attack 6 and can knock down on 2. You're going to get that, hopefully, unless you roll dice like I do.
And his second option is a double, a 2-inch push, which is momentous. So as you'll see from the rest of his playbook, he likes to sort of push people about and move things around the table. So
he's really a big bully, isn't he?
A big bully, just run up to stuff and move them about. So pushing models out of position seems to be his thing. Tackles on a 3 and a 2 damage on a 3, neither of which are momentous. 4 hits, you get 3 damage or 2 momentous and a double, a 2-inch push. And then finally, the 5th column,
3 damage with a 2-inch push. Also momentous. Chris dropped his book. So it's a pretty good. Playbook, and the thing that jumps to me, as we've mentioned, you find that people's tack usually match their amount of playbook columns, and he only has 5 columns with a tack of 6.
So yeah, easy access to wraparounds.
He's going to get a wraparound more likely than some of your other players. And then his single character play, which he activates on 1 successful hit, which I think is incredible. Singled out. Friendly models gain +2 tack against target enemy model. Now, that is brilliant, especially if he goes in early turn, effectively marks the target for the rest of the turn. And as I'm sure Chris may be about to tell us, if you combine that with Commanding Aura, it's whatever you put it on is dead. Let's be honest, it's dead with lots of momentum for you.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of Jay's alluded to it, but if you walk up to a model, single it out, so give it 1 hit to single it out +2 tack, and then hit it again with the additional +2 tack, so you've got 8 tack just from stood next to it, and then you're pushing it 2 inches, so you can sort of push it towards one of your other models that is then going to hit it. And with Commanding Aura up as well, you're getting, that's an extra 3
You can also
tack.
knock it down.
Knock it down as well, yeah.
Make it easier to hit, so you could be at +3 tack, +1 damage, and just knock it down so it ain't counter-attacking. Murder it.
Yeah, so even if there's some models on 5 or 6s to hit, if you're throwing 10, 11, 12 dice at it, the likelihood is you're going to get 1 or 2 off.
Absolutely.
So this is, really, really good. So again, a bit like Blackheart, a bit of an enabler for the rest of the team. Not going to do a huge amount of damage himself with momentum, but yeah, useful to move models about.
Absolutely, yeah. Very good character play, I think. One of the reasons I like Avarice as well, I think that if you play the more killy build of a Union team, it's very tempting to go with your gutters, your ages, that sort of thing. But you could put him in, and he can still do a fair amount of direct damage himself, but the buff he's giving everyone else,
literally that much better.
You can pick a target for the turn and know pretty much in the bank you're going to get him off the table if you can combine the singled out and the Commanding Aura. So that's Avarice, guys, and even without the detached thing, I really like Avarice. I've got a lot of time for him.
I've not had that much table time with him, to be honest. There's so many models in the Union guild that he doesn't see too much of the table for me. But yeah, just from reading through his card, he does seem to have a lot of possibilities.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do, this is seamless, I promise, you won't even notice I'm doing it. On to Greed, the little guy, who is perfectly in shot. Well done. So we're going to jump straight into Greed, who is the guy who can effectively detach, and the one you see strapped to the front of Avarice's chest. If you buy the model, it does actually come with a magnet, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And an alternate piece, so you can have the blank of Avarice. One thing I would say is potentially, if you want to do that, if you think that's fun, get it in resin, so you're not maybe chipping the beautiful paint job you've done changing it. But it does come with options, which is a really cool, fun thing for this model. So we'll throw the front of Greed's card up on screen now. And we'll start with his stat line as usual. So he has a movement of 4-5, so he's not very fast, but he does only have little legs.
He does have little legs.
He's got little legs that move very fast. He's tack 5, which is amazing considering I could put him in my pocket. And this is one of the things why I love him, and the fact that I love Avarice, and this is even better. He has a kick of 4 inches.
He does, and if you compare that to sort of I'm going to say mascots here, but other models that have a 4-inch kick. So you're looking at Salt, you're looking at Scum, who I do actually hear do score quite often. They're doing 1-4. This guy's got 4-4. So you get him within 4 inches of the goal, he's going to score.
He could be crowded out, and he's still throwing a couple of dice in it. Yeah. And this is one of the tactical things I want to experiment with Avarice in Greed. But we'll carry on. He's defense 5+, so he's got plenty of defense, no armor, and he generates 1 influence. Can have 4, and as Chris mentioned during Avarice's profile, if you detach them, it's an extra influence for your team for the game while they're detached.
Yeah.
And it's done before influence, so you will get it the turn he detaches as well. Character traits, as with Avarice, he can play for all guilds, so that is fine. Character trait benched. This model does not start on the pitch and does not count towards your maximum team size allowance, because at the start of the game he's attached to Avarice. So this is one of those models that lets you effectively break the fundamentals of the game. It lets you put a 7th player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So attach Avarice. It's effectively the same, the opposite of detach. During the maintenance phase, before influence is generated, if this model is in base contact with the named model, it may remove all damage and conditions and remove itself from the pitch. So effectively, it jumps back onto, like...
Yeah.
Did you ever play Bioshock, the computer game?
I've not.
For those of you that have played it, I see it like the little sisters and the big daddies that carry the little psychotic girls around. That's what he is. And I think if he gets in trouble, he runs back to Avarice and gets protected.
And remember, it does say it heals all damage, so it's kind of a free heal. If he jumps back and attaches to Avarice, he's back to full wounds.
I mean,
again.
you will see the glass cannon side of Greed in a minute. But yeah, basically, if he's looking a bit grim, he can reattach to Avarice and sort of reset state.
Yeah.
And then defense support. If this model is within 4 of Avarice, it gains +1 defense, so he's 6 is to hit.
6 is to hit. If
Yeah, that's so cool.
Avarice. Yeah.
And especially the turn he detaches, he's bound to be, because he has to detach in base contact. And then this is one of my favourite abilities from the lovely Cosset. Crazy, once per activation, this model may suffer 3 damage to gain +3 tack. So you've got a model suddenly that is tack 8 with a 4/4 kick.
And in effect, it's a free model. It's your 7th model on the table.
Yeah, it's a free model. It will cost you VPs if it goes, but there are situations where that could be huge. And then potentially what is here to balance the crazy little thing, he has 4 health.
4 health. So if you're going crazy in a turn, you're down to 1.
Yeah.
1 wound.
Yeah.
6 is to hit if you're next to Avarice, but it's a bit of a risky game. But I guess that's the point of these guys.
Yeah.
They're a bit of fun and they're a bit of a risk. So if you're willing to take that risk, there are high outputs you can get from it.
And it would be so cool to pull it off, detaching Greed and scoring a goal. And that's what the tack 8 is huge. He's there to finish off a character or put a ball in the net when you are in position. He's not there to run around the pitch for 3 turns.
No,
because he's an easy bleed of 3 VPs.
I really want to try. I want to see a game at 10-10.
Yep.
You're going first. You've won initiative. You drop Greed. You're really balls deep. Go crazy. First activation with Greed. He's got a couple of wounds left to do on a model. Tack 8, charges in, and he's got to hit this model. That would be awesome.
That is a way to finish a
12-10.
game. And as I mentioned, I see Avarice standalone as a good model, so the Greed side of it is just a bonus.
Yeah.
So 4 health, guys, and what we'll do is we're going to flip to the back of his card now. He has a melee zone of 1 with his little stabby knife, and Chris will go over his playbook.
So he's only got 1 option from all of his hits, so you don't really get a choice apart from if you do multiple hits. So his first column he gets 1 damage, which isn't momentous. Second, 2 hits as a 1-inch dodge. 3 hits is 2 damage. 4 hits is 3 damage. So he's actually doing quite a lot of damage.
Oh
here.
yeah, and at tack 8 you can really throw the damage in.
So the first 4 columns you can effectively get 3 damage. None of which damage ones are momentous, but
again worth noting, if he detaches and runs in, if you've singled out and commanding Orad, he's going to be doing a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, he's going to have about 11 dice.
Yeah.
And because of his craziness, he's got a number of columns accordingly. So he's actually got 8 columns.
Yeah, makes
so the
sense.
5th one is a momentous guild ball, which triggers Where'd They Go. One of our favourite repositions.
Love it.
And then for 6 hits, you can actually tackle somebody. if that's again situational. If the last activation, if you're trying to win the game and you want to charge him in, tackle the ball, and then shoot. Even if it's the first activation of the turn, he can charge and tackle momentously and then shoot with his 4/4.
That's the ultimate way to win a game.
That would be
for me.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
7 hits, 4 damage, and then all 8 hits, a double guild ball which triggers Rabid Animal.
Yeah, so it's a long playbook, but I think it has to be, given the fact that he can go up to attack 8. It's only fair.
Yeah.
He's a nasty little fellow. He can really do some damage. So his character plays. The first one is Where'd They Go, so he can spend 1 to do this or activate it on 5 successful hits. We all know this one. This model may make a 4-inch dodge. Brilliant. Again, if he's just detached, it really helps boost that 4/5 move to get him around the pitch. And then the second one, which he triggers on 8 successful hits, so right at the top of his playbook for momentum. Target enemy model suffers -4/-4 move in the poison condition.
So a bit like Coin's hamstring, but you get a bit of poison as well.
Unless it was stopping something key, I would probably be doing damage over that. But if you can see, if he jumps off and charges at someone about to score a goal, or about to take out one of your players, it's a very good counter.
I guess, and the way I see it is if you deploy him right next to an enemy model, and then you want to try and hit him, especially if it's like a 2+ big guy, you can give them -4/-4 movement, and then you can do your little Where'd They Go dodge to get out, and then run off, and then he's not going to be able to catch you.
Yeah, exactly. Greed is cool. I love greed. I love avarice and greed. And my shameless plug, my union are currently being painted by Yggdrasil Painting Studios, guys. Check them out on Facebook and all the other usual stuff. And as soon as I get them back, I will have avarice and greed in all my teams just to do some cool, crazy, fun stuff. And the last thing I'm going to note about Greed before I take his card off screen is the fact that he's down as a striker.
He is down as a striker.
I love that.
So Avarice is a centre-back, and Greed is a striker. So
there you go.
how does that work?
I think it's one of them. It's probably the most fun profile in the game for me. Definitely one I'm looking forward to using more.
And from what I've heard, I think model-wise, it is a model that draws a lot of people into the game. All new people that I see say that that's one of the models.
Him and Rage being two of the big ones, both Union, Beautiful, beautiful model. So that, guys, is Avarice and Greed, the crazy pair together. And then I think the last one we're going to do for part one of this video is potentially most people's favourite model and favourite character. You're a big fan of this guy. I'm a big fan of this guy.
Definitely. Aesthetics-wise, I absolutely love him. Definitely sort of Gangs of New York, Daniel Day-Lewis, very much fitting in with everything I love about this game.
And if that didn't give it away to you guys, next we're going to be going to Rage. So last up in the first part of Meet the Union is my favourite Union model.
Same, I think, yeah.
Yep, and I think he is most people's favourite Union model. He's full of character. You may know him from a blockbuster movie. It is the one, the only, Rage. The fluff doesn't give us much about Rage. Tells he's a bit of an opportunist. Doesn't really tell us a great deal more. He's a man of mystery, I think.
He is. Like many of the Union, he's a bit looking forward to get some more fluff about him, really. Yeah,
he's a very cool model, as you can see. Again, I have spoken to a lot of people who've said this model is what attracted them to the game. And he has a rule set that pretty much backs up how cool he looks. So we'll pop the front of his card on screen and we'll start with his stat line. So he's a movement of 5/7 inches, so he's above average, really. He can get around. He's attack of 6, which is brilliant. I mean, that's your usual captain level of attack, really. He's pretty good there. He's got a kick of 2/6, which is fairly average. Defense 4+ no armor, which I believe, I think Jamie P mentioned that's the average across the game. If you work out, 4 no armor seems to be like the average, or maybe 4/1. So he's pretty solid there, and he generates 1 influence and can have a maximum of 1. And before the alarm bells ring, we will get straight onto his character traits. So selective, he can play for the Brewers, Butchers, Engineers, or Morticians, and if you play the Brewers, Butchers, Engineers, or Morticians, he should be in your team. That's my rule of thumb. If you can take Rage,
you do
take Rage. He is awesome. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do think he is awesome for any team he plays for. So yeah, he definitely can offer something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one we have mentioned a couple of times when talking about other plays is Maverick. This model cannot be affected by other friendly plays or character traits.
When I first read this and first started playing, I hated it. I thought it was the worst thing ever that he couldn't benefit from any of my friendly stuff that we've talked about, commanding aura, bag of coffers. I thought that it was dreadful. However, after getting more into the game and playing a bit more, it soon becomes apparent that there are definite benefits from this trait as well, as has previously been mentioned. Things like Scything Blow. If you have him in your team for Brewers, Stave's Barrel Lob.
He's just going to stand there and go, what was that?
So he is really, really good combined with your other models in terms of negative stuff that would normally affect you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the one that springs to mind is position of AoEs when you use AoE players.
Yeah.
You do not have to worry about where Rage is. You can drop it straight on his head and he goes, yeah, what was that?
Yeah.
He's not bothered.
That barrel's just split all over him and he doesn't care.
So Maverick is a bit. It definitely has a plus and a minus to it, but it's not as bad as initially comes.
First seems, yeah.
And then the Butchers out there will know this next one, Berserk. So during its activation, if this model damages an enemy model this turn, it may make an additional attack without spending influence. This ability cannot generate a further attack from itself, which again, very similar to our good friend Boar Furious. This model may charge without spending influence.
So when you look back at his influence on his stat card, 1 and 1 looks alarming at first, but if he's doing sort of 2 attacks for every 1 attack in effect, if he's damaging stuff, and he's getting to charge for 3, which is 2 influence, he's actually getting sort of 3, 4, 5 influence.
Yeah, I mean, if you work it out, he charges for 2, in theory, and then he attacks for 3 for another one. He then spends an influence to attack and attacks again for free. His influence may say 1/1, but when he gets his full swing out there, he's effectively doing 5 influence worth of attacks. Yeah. There are direct counters to that, like keeping him engaged or slowing him down, keeping him out of play. But when Rage gets into combat, he tends to remove whatever he's very much like Boar.
Yeah.
He removes whatever he flies in, and again, like Boar, with a 5/7 move and the 1-inch melee, he's got that 8-inch threat range, which is the same as Boar with the 4/6 and the 2. Literally, when Rage is in the pitch, you will see players either staying out of the way of him, or your enemy will be doing things to control him.
Yeah.
What are you? And then his last one, which makes him even better. Crucial artery. When damaged by this model, enemy models suffer the bleed condition. So you're straight away making them spend momentum, or they're taking another 3 damage. And I mean, as Chris's paint job shows, he's not afraid of cutting people to pieces and getting dirty. So Rage, brilliant player.
Yeah, absolutely love him.
Yep. Awesome.
All of these extra little things. Firstly, when you look at his stat card, he doesn't look that great. And he is a bit of a glass cannon, so no armour, defence 4+. I know Jay mentioned that it was kind of average across the board, but
yeah.
if he gets hit, he does go down fairly quick. Only 17 wounds, but he does dish out a hell of a lot of damage. If you can't control him, or you're not really sure what he does, he can go to town.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly off topic, but I've been since I got in this game, I've been tempted to try a butcher's list that is Boar, Rage, Minx. So 3 models that all charge for free every turn.
Yep.
Just for the pure hilarity of watching them fly around killing stuff.
And what's great about models like Rage and Boar and Minx is that they generate some influence for the team, and unlike a lot of other models, if you decide in a turn that you don't want to allocate any influence to him and you want to spread it out somewhere else, you're still getting something out of him because he's charging for free. So as long as he's within range of somebody to charge, he's effectively getting 2 attacks for nothing, even if you put no influence on him at all. And that can throw a few people in games when you're playing them, because they'll look at him with no influence and think, well, he's harmless, he's not going to do out, without realising he then charges for free.
They see, this turn Rage isn't going to do anything, and then bag of coppers, and all of a sudden he's gone from nothing to his max influence allocation.
Can't bag of coppers Rage.
Oh yeah. Nah.
But he charges for free, so
sorry, that's why I couldn't say it yet again. So that's the front of his card, guys. We will switch to the back.
Playbook.
He's a 1-inch melee, 30mm base, standard dude, and Chris will do his playbook.
So he gets momentous damage on 1, 2, and 4 lots of hits. So 1 damage on his first box, 2 damage on his second set of hits, 3rd set of hits, and it's a knockdown or a tackle, neither of which are momentous. But again, with his character traits of Berserk, you're really wanting to do damage. So if you're going to be knocking someone down or tackling somebody, you're you're foregoing that extra attack. So you really are wanting to do some damage, and because they're momentous as well, it's sort of a double for that. And then 4 hits is 3 damage, 5 hits triggers concussion, one of his character plays, and a mighty 6 hits, and you're doing 4 damage as well as concussion. Not momentous, but it does then generate that next attack. So yeah, quite a decent set, damage heavy. So you can see what he's in the team for.
And the thing is, during his charge and his first attack he pays for, he's pretty much always going to pick the damage just so he gets that free one.
Yeah.
To really push through. And then character plays, he has 2. The first one is Tooled Up, which costs 1 with a 4-inch range, and it's sustained, so it lasts till the end of the turn. I'm sure you know this one, guys. Target friendly model gains +1 damage to character plays that cause damage and playbook damage results. This may be used once per turn.
I love this one.
Does what it says on the tin.
It does what it says on it. I get the only it's used sparingly with me. Mainly, I use it in the first turn where Rage is not in range of anybody to do damage himself. Tool up somebody else like Gutter, who is able to actually get somebody. But after that, I would probably be spending that 1 influence hitting something to generate 2 attacks.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys who are watching may know my favourite team are the Engineers, and I love the idea of tooling up Salvo, because Salvo can shoot repetitively, and tooling up Salvo so he can dish it, he can do like 8, 10, 12 damage. That's something I would use Rage for to quite good effect. And then his other character play is Concussion, which he triggers on 5 successful hits. Or 6 successful hits. He also triggers it as well as doing 4 damage, which I love this. Not done it as much with Rage as Boar, but that's because Boar's had more table time than Rage for me. Target enemy model loses an influence.
Yeah, great against models that haven't yet activated, and
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
against models that are wanting to do specific things, like if you've got Shark set up with 6 influence about to go on a goal scoring run and he needs them all, you can charge in, do a bit of concussion on him, reduce him completely, neuter him to stuff something he can't do. Or again, stood next to Boar with 1 influence. If you hit him and take that influence off him, he's pretty much redundant.
His killing power is massively reduced at that point. So that, guys, is Rage, and I think he is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, me too. You've got 2 Rage lovers over here.
Yeah, we're fangirls for him, seriously we are. Gotta love Rage. So that, guys, is the first 6 players from the Union lineup. We're going to leave that there. We're going to do this video in 2 parts so we don't bore you to tears. So we're going to leave that there and we'll jump back in front of the camera. Cheers, guys. Right, guys, there you have it. That is the end of part 1 of Meet the Union. Good job Chris is here correcting me because I made loads of mistakes. It's probably best to bring these experts in because I don't really have a clue. Is a long and short. Hope you enjoyed the video. Anything you want to see, stick in the comments below as always. We're going to wrap that here. We're going to come back with part 2 now, showing you the rest of the Union. We figured we'd start and get the captain and the mascot, who are the essentials, out of the way.
Yep.
And then the big guys, and then obviously we've showed you Rage as well. Now we're going to get into the serious Sorry, I've got a giant Nerf gun pointed at my head right now.
That's very good viewing.
Yep. Professional. We're being assaulted, so we are going to wrap this here.
Nice.
We'll do season 2 with the bread and butter of the Union. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Chris, for getting involved.
Right, not everybody loves Rage, it seems.
Yeah, and we'll jump in now. Cheers.